Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Namaskar and good morning, friends. I'm Dr. Dhaval Pandya. Welcomes you all from the Chaitanya Studio of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. Today we are going to learn about MBA02. Subject is Human Resource Management. A code is MBA02C202. Block number 2, unit number 6, Performance Appraisal. Previous lecture was of the same, and this today's lecture is in continuation of previous lecture. So starting from syllabus and all, okay, starting from syllabus, introduction, concept of performance appraisal, goals of performance appraisal, objectives of performance appraisal, the performance appraisal process, benefits of performance appraisal methods, performance counseling, problems in performance appraisal, effective performance appraisal, summary, then self-assessment questions and further reading. So in last lecture we could cover introductory part, then concept of performance appraisal, goals of performance appraisal, and lastly we could cover objectives of performance appraisal. Okay, in today's lecture we are going to learn about the performance appraisal process, benefits of performance appraisal, and performance appraisal methods. There are a number of methods. We will be able to cover 2 or 3 methods only. Rest of the method we'll learn in next lecture. Okay, starting from performance appraisal process. Okay, the performance appraisal process. Few steps are involved in appraisal process. First, the appraisal process begins with the establishment of performance standards. These should have evolved out of job analysis and the job description. These performance standards should also be clear and objective enough to be understood and measured. Too often, these standards are articulated in some such phrases as a full day's work or a good job work phases tell us nothing. Second, once performance standards are established, it is necessary to communicate these expectations. It should not be part of the employee's job to guess what is expected of them. Unfortunately, too many jobs have work performance standards. The problem is compounded when these standards are not communicated to the employees. Third, the third step in the appraisal process is measurement of performance. To determine what actual performance is, it is necessary to acquire information about it. We should be concerned with how we measure and what we measure. For common source of information are frequently used by managers to measure actual performance, that is personal observation, statistical reports, oral reports and written reports. Now fourth, what we measure is probably more critical of the evaluation process than how we measure. The selection of the wrong criteria can result in serious dysfunctional consequences. What we measure determines to a great extent what people in an organization will attempt to excel at. The criteria we choose to measure must represent performance as stated in the first two steps of the appraisal process. The fourth step, the fourth step in the appraisal process is the comparison of actual performance with standards. The attempt in this step is to note deviation between standard performance and actual performance. One of the most challenging tasks facing managers is to present an accurate appraisal to the subordinate and then have the subordinates accept the appraisal in a constructive manner. And the final step in the appraisal is the initiation of corrective action when necessary. Corrective actions can be of two types. One is immediate and deals primordially with symptoms. The other is basic and delves into causes. Immediate corrective actions is often described as putting out fires, where basic corrective actions gets the source of deviation and seeks to adjust the difference parameter. Difference is in parameter. Immediate action corrects something right now and gets things back on track. Basic action asks how and why performance deviated. In some instance, managers may rationalize that they do not have the time to take basic corrective actions and therefore must be content to perpetually put out fires. Okay, we can see the chart as well. Okay, these are the chart. Establish performance standards, then communicate performance, then measure of, okay, then comparison of actual performance, and then initiate corrective actions if necessary. Now, performance appraisal. These are the process of performance appraisal. Now, benefits of performance appraisal. After this, benefits of performance appraisal. Okay. The benefits of an effective appraisal scheme can be summed up with under three categories. These are for the organization, for appraiser and for appraisee. Now first we'll cover for the organization. For the organization, few benefits would occur to the organization. First, improved performance throughout the organization due to more effective communication of the organization's objectives and values. Increased sense of cohesiveness and loyalty and improved relationship between managers and staff. Second, improvement in the task performed by each member of the staff. Then third, identification of ideas for improvement. And fourth, expectation and long-term plan can be developed. Then fifth, training and development needs can be identified more clearly. Then sixth, a culture of continuation improvement and such can be created and maintained. And seventh, fifth, people with potential can be identified and career development plan can be formulated for future staff requirement. Now for appraisers, okay, a few benefits would occur to the appraiser. First, the opportunity to develop an overview of individual jobs and department. Second, identification of ideas for improvement. Third, the opportunity to link team and individual objectives and targets with departmental and organizational objectives. Fourth, the opportunity to clarify expectations of the contribution the manager expects from team and individuals. Fifth, the opportunity to reprioritize targets. Sixth, a means of forming a more productive relationship with staff based on mutual trust and understanding. And third one was for the appraisee. Okay, for the appraisee, the few benefits would occur. First, increased motivation and increased job satisfaction. Third one is increased sense of personal values. So these three things are there. Then if we say activity 1 is assume you are currently operating an appraisal system in an organization. How will you carry out the same things about the sections? Okay, these are the activity you have to perform. Okay, now coming back to the unit. Now we'll see the performance appraisal methods. Okay, performance appraisal methods. The number of methods, 10 methods, we will try to cover 3 out of 10. Performance appraisal method. This section looks at how management can actually establish performance standards and devise instrument that can be used to measure and appraise an employee's performance. A number of methods are now available to assess the performance of the employees. First, criteria incident method. Critical incident method. Critical incident appraisal focus on raters attention on those critical or key behaviors that make the difference between doing a job effectively and doing it ineffectively. What the appraiser does is write down little accurate note that describe what the employees did not did that was especially effective or ineffective. In this approach to appraisal, specific behavior are cited, not wholly defined, personally trained. Then second, checklist. In the checklist, the evaluator use a bit of behavioral description and check of those behavioral that apply on the employee. The evaluation merely goes down the list and gives yes or no response. Once the checklist is complete, it is usually evaluated by the staff of personnel department, not the rater himself. Therefore, the rater does not actually evaluate the employee's performance. He or she merely record it. An analyst is the personnel department, then score the checklist, often weighting the factors in a relationship to their importance. The final evaluation can be then be returned to the rating managers for discussion with the subordinates or someone from the personnel department can provide the feedback to the subordinate. Third, graphic rating scale. One of the oldest and most popular method of appraisal is the graphic rating scale. They are used to assess factors such as quantity and quality of work, job knowledge, cooperation, loyalty, dependability, attendance, honesty, integrity, attitudes, and initiatives, etc. However, this method is most valid when abstract traits like loyalty or integrity are evolved unless they can be defined in more specific behavioral terms. Few are some of the advantages of this method, like they are less time consuming to develop and administer. They permit quantitative analysis. There is greater standardization of items, so comparability with other individual in deserved job categories is possible. So in graphic rating scale, these things we have to understand and keep in mind. So with this note, rest of the methods are still 7 are left. We'll cover in next lecture. Till then, the questions, what kind of questions can be asked with this in this lecture? What is process of performance appraisal? Discuss in detail. What are the benefits of performance appraisal and how many methods used in performance appraisal? Describe in detail. These kind of questions can be asked from this lecture. Okay, we'll meet in next lecture. We'll try to cover all these 7 which are left methods. We'll try to cover in next lecture. Till then, goodbye and take care. Thank you very much.